Some more very interesting news from Xbox, and I find this to be particularly interesting because it's something that we've heard before, but maybe this is alluding to something that we hadn't heard before. So yeah, I think this is going to be definitely something cool to see. And at the end of the day, is this going to be something that realistically helps Microsoft? I think so. This could be something that ends up working out great for all parties concerned and could make Xbox fans extremely happy in the process. And, again, it really kind of comes down to what your individual thoughts are on these things. But for me, I think, hey, the more the better. I'm an Xbox fan. I want to see Xbox do well. I want to see Xbox games continue to come. I want to see Microsoft compete on a higher level. So if you're with me, make sure you guys check that out, and make sure you guys stick around. It's going to be a fun one. Hey everybody, I'm Crab Gamer, and this is Crab Gamer Reviews, back with another video. Thank you so much for checking it out. I appreciate it. Please like, share, subscribe. I would appreciate that as well. It helps out the channel. It means a lot to me. You guys don't realize that the simple likes help a ton, and it helps the videos to be seen, and things like that. It helps the channel to grow. So, there it is. And anyway, so I kind of wanted to get into this. I do daily content. Every single day you can look forward to something new from me, at least one video. And, I try to be fun yet entertaining. So if that sounds like your bag, hey, you found the right place. Let's get started on this video. So we know that, there's certain games that skip Xbox, whatever the case may be. And, that's obviously something that, people kind of wanted to kind of talk about and things like that. Obviously a big one would be the Final Fantasy series, and according to this, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth director says Xbox is great and wants to see the trilogy on more platforms, which, hey, I think the more the better, for these type of things. You have to be able to kind of have a situation where these games are available and these games are, going to be able to do a lot of things right, you know what I mean? And I think that's exactly what we have here. We have a situation where Square wasn't exactly doing amazing things, or they weren't meeting their expectations, and so they are going to put stuff on the Xbox at some point. Now, does that mean we're going to get something right away? I think that probably leads a little bit to be desired. Whether or not that's going to happen, we'll have to see if that's going to actually kind of change in the future or whatever. But for me anyway, I think that it is a very interesting situation because we're seeing so much change with that honestly that makes me kind of question a lot of things that are happening in gaming right now. When you look at how Microsoft has kind of evolved or whatever, that's the thing that I think a lot of people were looking for. Like, are we going to be able to get these Final Fantasy games on the platform or not? Well, according to this, the co-director of Final Fantasy VII Remake and the director of Rebirth was recently asked how he felt about the game being released on other platforms, and he replied that while there was no announcements to make yet, that he actually that there was nothing they could say at the moment, that there certainly is some stuff that they're gonna bring Final Fantasy VII and the remake to as many people as possible. He said, and I quote, "So we want to create that situation, that environment where more players can play the game in the future, and we want to look in that direction." He also said that while it used to be possible to release the game on a single platform and have players buy that system to play it, that's less the case these days, explaining that while in past, publishers could put out a game in one place and most of the players coming to that game to play it, he said it's much more of diversified now. So I think that's probably why their CEO made the decision to move more things in more directions of multi-platform. That way, that's just the way that the industry is going. So, again, I've been saying this for a long time, that I felt like the third-party exclusive situation would probably change before too long, and that's kind of where we're at right now with this. Is we're starting to see some of these things and instances change in a good way. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is one of several recent PlayStation 5 exclusives that have failed to meet Square Enix's sales expectations, leading the publisher to announce plans to shift to a more multi-platform strategy. Although he didn't specifically mention Xbox when saying he wanted to see Final Fantasy VII Remake on other platforms, when asked for his opinion on Square Enix's multi-platform strategy, strategy, to which he praised the Xbox platform. He said, and I quote, "This is just a personal opinion now, but I've got an Xbox myself. I think it's a great hardware platform. I do like Xbox." So last month, the Final Fantasy producer, Mr. Yoshida, said that he'd like to release Final Fantasy 16 on Xbox platforms, saying, and I quote, "Of course, we did announce the PC version of the game, so looking towards the Xbox version, we do want to release it on Xbox. But when it comes to specifics as such, when the game would be available and such, we're not in a position to be able to share anything." Earlier in the month, Yoshida stated that Square Enix plans to release games simultaneously on Xbox more and more going forward. So, hey, that's some good news. So again, I did a video previously on Final Fantasy 16, and that one seemed like it would probably come to Xbox before like Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth and all that stuff would come to Xbox, you know. So if you're more looking forward to like that game, then yeah, you're probably gonna have a little bit of while to wait. But you know, I think that's cool, you know, like a lot of fans are into the Final Fantasy games. Having them on Xbox would be a big help, I think, to people that are looking to kind of get into the Final Fantasy games. And, you know, at the end of the day, I think that really kind of makes the most sense, you know, have it on multiple things. Like, listen, I don't think that it's like that people, you could look at it from multiple ways, in my opinion, like what he's talking about, and I get it, you know, because I do think that people, depending on the game, will buy, you know, a console for a specific game or whatever, and I think that will probably continue to be the case. But I also think that if you look at things, I think that they maybe, people are a little bit tired of a particular game or franchise, you know. It's like that could be the case, you know. Like I'm not a huge Final Fantasy guy myself, but I could understand why, you know, maybe some of these Final Fantasy games aren't exactly, you know, selling amazingly well and things like that. I don't necessarily think that it has anything to do with, oh, because it's not on Xbox. Because, look, I'm just being honest, and I love Xbox. The console itself, which, again, it's weird that I have to explain this, but I love the Xbox. I think Xbox is great. The company behind it is absolute crap, right? Like, I can't stand Microsoft. But, you know, again, we live in a world where, you know, they made something cool and they made something good, and I'm not going to let, you know, miss out on something just because the company behind it is total trash. So, you know, again, when you have this, having more games on and stuff like this, I think a lot of people kind of look to these types of games on, you know, Xbox and say, okay, well, if Xbox had this, or this, then, you know, it'd be a much better situation than where they're currently sitting. So, you know, I hope that that's the case kind of going forward, is that we get, you know, a lot more Xbox releases and things, because that just makes sense. You know, it really just makes sense to be able to have that and to be able to offer that for, you know, fans and things like that. Hopefully we get more. Like I said, it kind of comes down to what the fans want. And, you know, if the fans want to play these games on Xbox, let them play it on Xbox. But I will also say this, in the past, like, Square has been very odd with the things that they release, right? So they release, you know, like that Tomb Raider reboot. I love the Tomb Raider reboot. I know that people will give me crap for that, but I really did. I loved the Tomb Raider reboot and thought that it was such a well done thing. And I think that game sold something like 5 million units or something. And then they still tried to say, oh, well, it's disappointing, it's this, it's that, you know what I mean? And to me, I don't think that it was disappointing, you know what I mean? It's just they set their things way too high, you know. When you set that level, the way that they did that, you know, just way too high of expectations. You know, when something's selling 5 million units and you're like, oh, well, it didn't meet our expectations, I think your expectations are the problem, right? Maybe put things in a different perspective or a different kind of way, and, you know, you won't be as disappointed. So, you know, they do that same thing, and it's like, I thought that they probably should have been a little bit more expectational with some of the games, like that Foam Stars game. You have this multiplayer game and you skipped Xbox, right? Like, that probably wasn't the smartest move, you know. Put out the game for free and maybe see what happens. Maybe he garners some kind of interest there. But the fact of the matter is, I'm not sure if Xbox fans are going to be the type that are going to go out there and buy, you know, these types of games anyway. But we'll see. You know, I hope that they do support it, because you see some Xbox fans on social media try and support this stuff, and they're like, yeah, you know, I love it, you know. And then at the end of the day, they're not buying it. So, you know, again, it's going to be one thing to see how they react when this stuff is out there, and versus, you know, are they actually going to go out there and support it and buy it? Your question. Let me know what you guys think. Would you buy Final Fantasy on Xbox? Sound off, rate, comment, subscribe, rack them up.